Hello everyone, it is great to see you here once again on Dee's Delights. Today we are going to be making shepherd's pie. You know, I can't remember the last time I have had shepherd's pie. I've heard about it, but I really don't think that was a common meal at our house when we were kids growing up. And I can honestly say I have never made it. So I'm excited to make it tonight for the first time. It sounds pretty tasty. We'll see. So what you're going to need for this recipe is, for the beef and vegetable layer, you're going to need 1 pound of ground beef, 1.5 cups of chopped yellow onions, 3/4 cups chopped carrots, 1/2 cup peas, right here you can use frozen, 1/2 cup of corn kernels, and also you can use frozen, 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 tablespoons of flour, 1 tablespoon of fresh thyme leaves. I'm going to substitute that with 1 teaspoon of dried thyme leaves. 1 clove garlic, it says pressed or minced. I'll be using a 1/2 teaspoon of this, which would be equivalent to 1 clove. 1 cup of beef stock. You know what? I have a lot of beef broth in the house, and I thought, does beef stock really make a difference whether than beef broth? Well, I guess it can a little bit. So I'm going to be going with the recipe. What it says is beef stock instead of beef broth. I'm sure you could substitute it, but for making this the first time, I'm not going to chance it. So beef stock it is. You're going to need a little salt and pepper. For the mashed potato layer, you're going to need 2 pounds of gold potatoes. It says Yukon. Well, I just got an off-brand name. They're gold. What you're going to want to do with those is peel them and then cut them into large cubes. We're going to need 1/2 cup of heavy cream, and I happen to have some heavy whipping cream left because I was making ice cream the other day, all kinds of good ice cream. And guess what? I'm giving them all away now because I'm going to start eating light yogurt, light frozen yogurt. Yes, folks, I can't be eating all this stuff. So I'm going to be making goodies still on my show, but I will be giving most everything away. I will take a little bite or two, and then I'm going to share it with my friends and family. Best way to do it. So we'll need 1/4 cup of milk, 3 tablespoons of butter, softened or melted. I'll just melt mine. 1 cup of grated cheddar cheese, and a little salt and pepper for the potato layer. So first, let's get all of our ingredients ready. We're going to heat a large skillet over medium-high heat and add the beef. We're going to brown that, cook that fully. Might take about 5 minutes, so it's up to you. And then just drain off the excess fat. So I'm browning my hamburger, chopping up my onions. I've already chopped up my carrots, so I have 3/4 cup. I've measured out my cheese, which is about 4 ounces. As you can see, I had to adjust it a little bit. So 4 ounces is equivalent to 1 cup of cheese. You would think it was 8 ounces, but it's not. And once my hamburger has browned, ground beef, whatever you want to call it, I know we had this discussion once before in one of the other episodes, then we're going to throw in the onions and carrots and cook them for about 10 minutes. And boy, oh boy, are these strong. Let me just see if I can see here. Okay. Did anyone ever wonder why it's called shepherd's pie? I asked that question. As a matter of fact, when I was looking up the recipe, I thought, why in the world is it called shepherd's pie? Now, I don't know if this is correct. Cottage pie or shepherd's pie is a type of savory pie. It is made with minced meat with mashed potatoes on top. It comes from the United Kingdom and Ireland. If it is made with lamb, it is usually called shepherd's pie because a shepherd looks after its sheep. Interesting. Well, ours is not being made with lamb, it's being made with hamburger, so I'm not sure if we should change the name or not, so. But I'm going to call it shepherd's pie. So just so you know, in case you were wondering. Oh my nose is running, folks. Excuse me. Okay, 1.5 was about this size onion, 1.5 cups. So I am ready that way. I'm going to go ahead and start peeling my potatoes and putting them in cold water. I've drained my hamburger, So now I'm going to add the carrots and the onions, and we're going to season with a pinch of salt and pepper, then cook for about 10 minutes until soft. All right, next, let's go ahead while that's cooking. Let's get our potatoes chopped up into little cubes and put it in our cold water. And then we're going to cook that until the potatoes get soft. We happen to have peas and corn. Now the sad part is this is one of those steam fresh bags. Well, I'm going to open up the bag because I'm not going to the store to get some more corn. So I'm going to use half a cup of peas and half a cup of corn. Those look like they're freezer burnt. I wonder how long they've been in our freezer. I do not necessarily care for peas, but Doug loves peas. If it were up to him, we would have several cups of peas in this. Yeah. I do like corn. So we got our half cup of peas, half cup of corn. We want 2 tablespoons of butter. We want our 1 cup of beef stock. We need 2 tablespoons of flour. And you're going to be using this in an 8x8 pan. So while my carrots and onions and beef are cooking, I'm going to go ahead and start the potatoes. I'm going to put them on high to get started. I've been frying my carrots and onions for about 15 minutes. They could probably still be a little softer, but you know me, I'm impatient. I'm going to keep moving on. So next, what we're going to do is add the butter to the pan and toss around until fully melted. And that was our 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to cut it in half. And you can go ahead and preheat your oven to 425 degrees. Okay, so then we're going to stir in the flour, thyme leaves, and garlic. So the flour is 2 tablespoons. I am using dried thyme, so I am using a teaspoon instead of a tablespoon of fresh. My hands are greasy. Can't open anything. I will be using a half teaspoon of garlic. This is equivalent to a whole clove. Stir for 1 minute until flour disappears. Add beef stock and then bring liquid to a boil over high heat. So let's get our 1 cup of beef stock. Sorry, I forgot to add the peas and the corn. So sorry. I'm thinking, what the heck do I still have peas and corn sitting here on the counter? Okay, so we got everything added. We added our peas and corn. We added the butter to the pan. We toss until fully melted, then stir in the flour and thyme leaves, stir 1 minute, blah, blah, blah. We added the beef stock, cook for a minute. Okay, so now we're just gonna cook the beef stock in there till it starts to thicken, and then we're gonna pour everything into an 8x8 pan. I'm gonna have to let mine cook just a little extra since I forgot the vegetables. It's amazing how I can read a recipe and totally ignore it all at the same time. It's a boiling. I'm going to turn it down. All right, let's pour it in the pan. This looks like an awful lot for an 8x8, but we'll see. Well, I guess it's not that much. That's what you got. So in order to like this, you're going to have to like hamburger, veggies, and potatoes. If you do not, this is not the recipe for you. So finish cooking your potatoes until they are fork tender. Oh, that's hot. You're going to let your potatoes sit for a couple minutes till some of the steam has a chance to rise. Next, we're going to use a fork or a potato masher. This is like $6 on Amazon. My stove is preheated, that lovely little tune. Mine probably could have cooked a little bit longer, but there again, we're going to bake it in the oven. So even though mine's a little firm, I'm still able to get the masher down through. Have my potatoes mashed, so stir in the cream, milk, butter, and cheese. I'm just going to take a chance that that's not too much cream. We'll see. Let's go ahead and put the cheese in there before I put the cold stuff in. That was a 1/4 cup of milk and make sure a half cup of heavy cream. And you can add a little salt and pepper to it. You can add whatever seasonings you like. And then we'll spread the mashed potatoes on top of the beef and veggies. And they're going to be a little chunky. Just make sure you don't have one whole potato that you forgot to smush up. I'm going to go ahead and scoop them out. Put them in globs, and then I'll spread it. That's a lot of potatoes for 4 servings, because that would be like a half a pound of potatoes for each serving. So I'm thinking I might be able to get 6 servings out of here instead of just 4. So what you're going to do is pop it in the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. Should I taste it? Let me just do a little teeny baby bit. By golly, it tastes like a potato with cheese. All right, off to the oven it goes. Be very careful getting that out of the oven. It is bubbly. I don't know if that's cheese, butter, whatever, but it is going to be hot. Well, of course, it was at 425 degrees, but just be careful of the bubblies around the side. I'm going to let that set for probably at least 15 minutes. It looks delicious. Well, I'm going to try this before I leave. Doesn't look like Doug's going to make it home in time. He has been on the job site since 5:30 this morning. So let's try. Scoop a little bit out. Oops. Falling apart. I'm sure the more it sits there, the firmer it'll get. So I shall give you my honest opinion. Is this worth it? Is it worth the effort, the time in the kitchen, the mess, cleanup? Should I use a spoon or a fork? I think the potatoes are healthy enough to use a fork. Yeah, it's pretty good. Just add your own seasoning, spruce it up a bit. I probably could add a little more salt and pepper. I like the way the potatoes are chunky instead of just mashed. Shepherd pie has been around for a long time. I think I read about it came out, like they started calling it shepherd pie in like the 1800s, somewhere like that. It's a good way to use up leftover mashed potatoes. You got a pound of hamburger you got to get rid of. Some of those frozen veggies that are just getting freezer burnt and you're ready to throw them out, throw them in this. I give that an 8.1 out of 10. I'd probably make it again. So thanks for joining me here once again on Dee's Delights, and I hope you have a fabulous week, and I'll see you soon.